back to Fantasy Cup action with a lot of hype for my Flygon team over here. So we're gonna have this Pokemon up in front which can do decent work even up against Azumarill, and if you ask me, whenever a Dragon type can perform that well, it really needs a separate video about it. So this is gonna be all about Flygon, and let's see it in action with our amazing Scorching Shots. Sometimes you need to maintain the switch advantage, so in doing so you need to sacrifice some shields in the process. And over here against Azumarill, I decide to sacrifice both of my shields because I guess that I can do extra damage on the next Pokemon, so some shields will be used by my opponent. This is how good Flygon can be, and right here we managed to do heavy work on the shield and on the opposing Flygon with heavy damage from the Dragon Claw. Then we go now to their own Dragon Claw. They still have one shield remaining, but hopefully by surviving one charge attack of their own, we can easily farm down in the process and get out of here with a decent amount of energy for our Giratina. Giratina is a unique Pokemon that you can use effectively, and to my knowledge, well, it is one of the safest ones that you can use. Right on CMP, we managed to get on the ominous wind. Let's get that final shield out of play, and at the same time we can force the CMP towards our advantage. So down we go now to their charge attack. It doesn't matter, I know we need to get our hands on that sludge, and of course one overhit might actually finish us off. However, my opponent makes the mistake to underestimate my sludge, and of course we can finish them off. So now with only Azumarill remaining, down they go, and that is gonna be a fantastic start to today's content. So at this point you can see that we have a Whimsicott up against us. This is absolutely horrible. This Pokemon is one of the top core breakers for my team because I have a Dragon type up in front and a Dragon type at the back. So at this point I want to ask you, trainers, which one in your knowledge at least is the best core breaker for Fantasy Cup? I figured out that this Whimsicott can be a pretty nice core breaker for a lot of teams, but also Giratina can do the same work. So I'm really eager to see what you think. Perhaps we can have some different opinions and we can discuss them right down in the comment section. So now with that Lucario getting out of there immediately with a simple Shadow Ball, they thought we were baiting. We're not gonna do that at all. Now we can have the upper hand over Whimsicott with our Sludge. Galarian Weezing will join the party, getting the shield pretty easily, and whatever they throw here will most likely be resisted. And I'm saying most likely because they might have Hurricane, who knows? Anyways, at the very end they got a Pokemon like Empoleon, which is just gonna get hit down by my overhit, and now we can easily survive the move by flexing our final shield by not using it at all. Actually, we got 2 shields, they have 0, and they still back out. Into the next game now, let's see how this is gonna go, because Shadow Dragonite is not that great, especially when they have Dragon Tail and we also lag. They pass through a whole Dragon Tail worth of damage, but hopefully we can finish them off before something weird happens with all of that energy farmed up from that Dragonite. That was a pretty nice snipe, and now we got access on the Shadow Ball. Azumarill is gonna be on a very difficult position, and after that lag at the start, I was thinking that perhaps I need to bail out because I was lagging a lot. I was pretty much frustrated, but still we had a win condition. This is a pure lesson for you. Never give up, never underestimate your capabilities, your powers, because you might actually win in the end even after all this lag. So with Azumarill now getting on its last shield, they are not gonna use it at all. We're just gonna keep going at it with our Giratina. Giratina also gets access to another Shadow Ball, able to land it for big damage on Turtonator, and I realize at this point that all we have to do is to completely farm down with our fast attack, so I'm not gonna drop any charge attack at all. Instead, I can easily go for the knockout with those Fairy Winds. Into the next game now, trainers, with the Galarian Stunfisk up in front. Let's see how this is gonna go, because one Scorching Suns might actually do the trick, and I will throw always on that Earthquake CMP. I know they can survive one, but one Earthquake might actually hurt us a lot, so I decide to go ahead and shield over here. So they can easily charge up to another Earthquake, and before they get on the 7th Mud Shot, I will throw my Dragon Claw so that when they get to the 7th, I can easily easily now win the CMP and go for the double shield grab from my opponent. As you can see, not only we took the shield, but also that Galarian Stunfisk fainted to our moves on the CMP, so they did not want to spend their final shield like this. So we are already doing a ton of work with our Flygon, and right after we fall down to the Ice Beam, but not before we do about 50% worth of damage on the Azumarill. I'm telling you, Flygon has only one severe weakness, and besides Charm, the other one might be something like a Skarmory. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna go into the battle now with Giratina, able to get the shield and still guarantee the knockout with the Ominous Wind, or at least I was hoping to, because they can survive. I'm expecting the move right after, and we managed to catch it on our Weezing. So Weezing now is left at the very end with the Ferrothorn. I am all smiles, unlike my Weezing over here, but we still gonna get our victory with that overhit. Into the next game now with the Galar Weezing, but this time from the opposing side. So this Pokemon is always bad news for any dragon because of its ability to do heavy work with its fairy typing, but at the same time I get it, we can easily have the upper hand with the Scorching Suns, and especially when most of those Weezings do not run Play Rough. However, I decided to go for the block on the first attempt because you never know, and now with the overhit we can easily tank it and see how they want to respond. Excadrill is their next Pokemon, and we're having access now on Scorching Suns for the one-shot. However, they end up going for the CMP here, and perhaps this is a mistake. I decide to not shield at all, and down I go. Perhaps we could shield at this point and have the upper hand over that Excadrill, but it is what it is, and we're just gonna come into the battle now with Giratina. I know that they're getting super close to another drill run. They were basically already there, but before they get to the move, I unleash the full power of my Shadow Ball, so down they go with the one shot. Weezing now is gonna get on the Sludge, and on CMP we can once again win with our horrible and terrible IVs against the Mirror Battle. Now at the very end they have a Registeel, and obviously going straight for those overhits is gonna be my main way to go. So this is gonna do about half, which is absolutely awesome, because I want to remind you at this point that I have already used one overhit, so I am a lot of times debuffed at this point, but still with the shield around we have nothing to fear here, because Giratina can easily survive the lock-ons while it will deliver the lethal blow with that final Shadow Ball. Into the next game now with the Escavalier up in front. Once again a pretty decent lead, but this is absolutely playable for that Escavalier. They can easily get to those drill runs on time, but hopefully we might be able to win the CMP race. I'm not sure about it, but perhaps we're gonna see in a while. Anyways, my opponent here gets on the Acid Spray, which is a pretty smart move, but still I'm not gonna fall for this because I was ready to lose my Flygon anyways, and I want to rely on my backline. So with Azumarill coming into the game, we managed to get a huge hit with that Scorching Suns on that very bulky beast, and now we're just gonna block in return the Hydro Pump, even though they are debuffed, and we can easily charge up a ton of energy before we unleash the full power of our poison move. Down goes Azumarill. We already know that the Escavalier might be returning to the game, and I get a little bit too greedy here and not gonna throw right on time. Hopefully it is the CMP, they did not catch the move or anything else. Down they go to the overhit. Now that Turtonator returns to the battle, it might be the perfect opportunity for us to switch out on our Flygon to start and pushing for that final shield with our Dragon Claw, but the battle is definitely not over yet. Turtonator can farm down here. I'm just gonna return to the battle, I guess, with my Weezing, but at this point we need them to drop some energy. Hopefully we manage to get our hands on the Sludge before something weird happens, as they're trying to get on their move on CMP. Once again we can win this. Down we go to the Dragon Pulse. Hopefully we can survive here, but look at that, Turtonator isn't joking around. Almost at no HP, but we still managed to farm down before they do. That was a pretty close battle that I almost lost because of bad decisions, and yeah, well played to my opponent on this one. Into the next game now with the Azumarill up in front. Obviously a bad lead for us, even though we saw before that Flygon can do a serious amount of damage on that Pokemon, but at the same time I want to switch out immediately on my safe switch, and in my opinion the safest of them all. Not only Giratina is a solid core breaker that I mentioned before, especially on my question, but still it is gonna be a pretty much safe pick to use for your teams, but it is pretty rough and pretty hard to have one on your line. Anyways, now with that ominous wind we can easily go for the shield grab here because they want to keep their Berserker alive a little bit longer, and as soon as I can block here whatever move they throw, we might actually be able to finish them off with the Scorching Suns. However, they end up catching the move on Azumarill, which is something that was not intended at all, and I guess that we need to go for that Sludge before they get their hands on the Hydro Pump for extra damage. So now Berserker has definitely lost its spark because it is not gonna do a lot of work without the Trailblaze bonus, and with the overheat we can easily finish off Lucario. Now I'm getting my chance to one-shot them down with a Sludge, or at least I was hoping to, because Sludge does no damage at all, especially after that overheat debuff that we had. For some reason I forgot about it, but they're still kind of obliged in using the remaining HP, the remaining energy actually, on my already dead Weezing, and we get the victory with Flygon on the very end game with the final mud shots. Into the next game now, trainers, with a Turtonator up in front. This might be looking like a solid lead, but still it is far from over. Now with Azumarill joining the party, we can easily go ahead and throw those Sludges on that Pokemon to do some decent damage and a lot of heavy pressure on their end. I'm just gonna block my Weezing here because I have a feeling that this has to be the Hydro Pump. I'm always counting the moves and I always know that they need 7 of those bubbles to get to a single Hydro Pump, so keep that in mind if you want to start counting. So with Sludge we can easily finish off the Azumarill. We are still behind on shields, but by having at least one for the very end game we might actually be on a very good track for the remaining of the battle. We have already dropped them at a point that one Dragon Claw can severely hurt them here, while we're reaching out to a Whimsicott at the very end. This Pokemon is not that great for me right now. We have one more Scorching Suns, this time for some extra resisted damage, but it is gonna bring them kinda low. They are also kinda obliged in using the remaining energy, and it ends up being the Moonblast, which most likely will finish us off. We also applied the debuff on their end with our Scorching Suns, and now they cannot even get their hands on that next charge attack. It is a Dragon Pulse, so much damage on my end, and I end up going for the Ominous Wind over here. Obviously I will rely a lot on Weezing for the very end game, and hopefully we can outspeed with that final Sludge. Let's get it everyone, down they go, absolutely awesome, and we're gonna wreak havoc on their defenses. Into the final one now, trainers, with a Lucario, shiny as well, what a flex, and look at that, the shiny Seaweed is coming into the game. I can only expect another shiny Pokemon. What it is gonna be? Perhaps a shiny Azumarill? Who knows? I will be pretty surprised if that is the case. Anyways, Sludge here will do some decent damage on that Dragalge while we can resist their moves. However, they hit us with a Gang Shot. I was not expecting this, and down we go. Are you kidding me? That was crazy. Well played to them, and now we have one Dragon Claw to finish them off. My opponent will go down, I guess. No reason to block here while they still have Azumarill. Oh my goodness, this is no shiny at all. Where is my golden egg? Not here as it seems. and we're just gonna reach to that last desperate, last resort Dragon Claw that I'm gonna use for some very cheap damage. Anyways, it all depends now on if my Giratina can actually pull this off, because my opponent has an almost healthy Azumarill. I'm not getting any buffs at all from my Ominous Wind. At that point I was thinking that perhaps Ominous Wind is my best way to play this around, while they still have Lucario. Lucario now is gonna use Force Palm, which is pretty interesting. Down they go with a simple Shadow Ball, and all we need to do here is to reach our hands on the Ominous Wind. Azumarill will try to block the move, but hopefully we can outspeed before they get to another charge attack. That was crazy, and Giratina will get for us a pretty solid victory. That is gonna be all for today. Thank you for watching and for staying around till the end. It really means a lot for my channel. Before you go, leave a huge like, subscribe to my content, and I hope to see you all into the next one.